time.
Yeah.
There you go. Them
Victory
boys
Monday.
back. Them boys. Dub.
Let's get it.
Write it, Joel, write it.
La patada, bueno, es una patada baja. Hay problemas con el acarreo. Ahora sí. ¡Ah, que mate Turpin! ¡Se escapa Turpin! ¡Por la banda izquierda! ¡Tiene un bloqueo! ¡Turpin! ¡La 20! ¡La 10! ¡Anotación de los vaqueros! ¡Increíble! ¡Qué bárbaro! ¡No puede ser! ¡Qué bárbaro por toda la banda izquierda! Entrando en las diagonales, Cowboys Turpin.
Yeah.
Let's get hot. Let's go.
Hey,
Combate Turpin.
Yeah, Turpin time. Welcome back to the Cowboys UNcovered. It's Victory Monday. Hey, we might be at the beginning of a win streak here, fellas. How y'all feeling?
You got to put two together, and that's called a winning streak, fellas.
Yeah. Yeah, hey. I got Dave here. Joe with me, and hey, we didn't predict it. I got to spoil that right now. We got our bold predictions wrong, but I'm feeling good about getting this W. So we'll talk about what that means for some draft implications, what it means for just right now, man. Let's just enjoy the win. We got one. So, man, Joe, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I mean, what a win. 34-26. It did not start out like a very exciting game, did it? And we ended up in a very exciting manner. Obviously, the Cowboys come back. We saw some crazy stuff. But Dave, let's break some of this down.
Oh man, a dub always feels good, even if it comes at you through the funky waves of the universe. And I didn't know if to win this game or not. You guys with me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah,
my internet's in and out.
I just saw your message.
All right, cool. Good. So we had some interesting snap counts. We had some interesting coaching adjustments and good game planning. And one guy came through it all and looked like a solid gold arm out there. Is that who our shot of the week's going to be for today?
Yeah, shot of the week. Devontae Turpin.
Devontae Turpin.
Yeah.
Shot of the week. But Cooper Rush can get one too, man.
He got it last time for the birthday. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was a birthday boy.
Turpin gets
can't
the
go wrong
shine
with
today.
Devontae Turpin.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that for Turpin. Big
All
ups.
right, fellas. Hey, shot of the week goes to Devontae Turpin. What a hey, hit that spin move. Hit that circle button.
What?
Yeah, while we're digesting that, I mean, it's one of those plays where, to be honest, it's just like a game changing. But then we saw how the game went, right? It was just so crazy all around that we, really wasn't even over exactly at that point. But I really liked how the sequence of events, Brian Baldinger, I like how he broke it down. So I want to go here and let you guys hear this clip from him. Audio good?
No audio.
No idea.
All right, we're good. Well, hey,
Here's what we know. A la izquierda, Devontae Turpin. He went down the left side, and I mean, when it happened, I had literally like when you had one eyeball in the game, right? Like I'm sitting there, I have my command center up, I got one eyeball in the game. It bounces and goes behind him. So I get my full attention on it, like, oh, here we go again. And homeboy scoops it up one hand like Spider-Man, picks it up, does a little to the right,
Move.
and then to the left, whoop, and goes down. Izquierda diagonal, all the way to the left for 6 points. Absolutely amazing. I think I woke up my wife while she was napping a couple times at the end of that game because she gets some Z's during these Cowboys games, and yeah, I think I messed it up a little bit. Man, it was exciting stuff. What a wild end of the game.
Yeah, so let me just kind of get into some of the stuff that we saw. And first of all, I know the kind of the storyline right now is to tank or not to tank, right? That's the question. But I
Yeah.
think we're all sort of in agreement that losing games is sort of the smart path forward, since 2024 is basically down the drain, to wash. However, I, for one, and I'm sure a lot of you guys felt the same way, I kind of really wanted to win this one, especially how things played out in the last few minutes of this insane game. So last 2:49, the Turpin 99 yard kickoff return,
Yeah, and I
followed
got that
by
other
the
one ready.
86-yard touchdown pass to McLaurin. And then we get the missed extra point by kicker Austin Siebert. And then an onside kick by Wanye Thomas for 43-yard score. Now, he probably should have gone down, right? But how exciting was that
Oh
anyway?
yeah, I thought this.
And then
Why not?
finally, like, I thought it was over. I went, took a shower, whatever, and ready to go out. And then I came back and it's a Hail Mary pass. They could have still done something, intercept at the 5-yard line. So it still wasn't over until the very last end of the game here, last throw. I didn't even mention the blocked field goal that we saw to start the game, and then the missed field goal by them, and then the blocked punt as well. So
Yes.
there was a lot of crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
and
So,
that was the
yeah.
that was the kicker's first game back from weeks of having a hip injury. So it was already kind of iffy how it was going to go, but everything just wasn't going his way. Period. That game, but I got the clip up, so let me just pull this Brian Balding up real quick for you guys.
And cut the lead to 20-17 with 3 minutes to go. Cavante Turpin was fielding this Austin Seibert kick when he muffed the kick and the ball went through his legs. And Washington has two men right in front of him. And he does whoop, whoop. He did it just a little whoop, whoop. And then he went 99 yards. 99 yards, nobody touched him. But look at this man right here. Thomas right here, leading the charge. As Cavante puts one nail in the coffin, except that Washington would score on a Daniels to McLaurin touchdown of 86 yards, cutting the lead to 27-26. And Dallas lines up for the announced onside kick. 5 on each side. But there's that Thomas character.
Cowboys
right
have had some onside
And Washington
moments.
tries for the middle onside kick.
Right.
And
CeeDee Lamb had a
Thomas
return
picks it up off the second
2
bounce.
years ago, I think.
He goes 43 yards. And just like that, in 3 minutes, the Cowboys
We also recovered an
kickoff
onside
returns
kick
for a
earlier this
touchdown
year.
to knock off the Commander.
Yep, we
Not
did.
many teams are doing that.
Yeah, crazy.
So I guess a question trivia: who was the last Cowboy to score on onsides?
CeeDee Lamb.
Was
I
it?
don't know.
He did a
And what
couple of
about
years
before?
ago. But I don't know when it was CeeDee Lamb. I thought
Wayne
but-
McGarity.
Randall Williams.
Oh,
Fastest
okay.
touchdown in Cowboys history.
Oh well,
Okay, let me
You
pull
know-
up those highlights. No.
it's really.
I should have got that one ready for you, Alex. That's my bad.
Let's
No, here-
sum up the special teams experience that we've had here, because it's been mostly up. It's mostly been our best unit, right? This whole season. So
Yeah.
when you look at this performance, maybe the past 2 weeks combined, there's some turmoil going on there, and to get to right the ship at the last second, and get us across the finish line, because we've had some blocks, we've had some misses, some, and the block was a really, really bad effort by BB and I can't remember who his partner was there, but it was a rookie and somebody else, and probably never done it together in their lives, and they let a guy just jump right through and get that block in the first quarter.
Two guys.
Yeah, so to have that happen early, and to have an absolutely gross kickoff that went out of bounds kind of late in that game. And if you remember when that happened, went out of bounds, you get that penalty, put it at the 40-yard line. McCarthy took his headset off, went over to Bones Fossil, and was like, listen here, you MFer.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of a heat exchange there. So, like, to go from that to then being the GOAT at the end and coming through, or being the actual, the good GOAT at the end of the game, it was such a wild. I mean, this is the only kind of thing that happens in a crazy rivalry game like this. Like, everyone else canceled each other out, and special teams decided it.
We've seen a lot of crazy Cowboys versus Washington football team games, in the past. Santana Moss comes to mind, and we've seen, a lot of crazy stuff. But this was probably had to be up there with the wildest one.
Yeah, look at those ups and downs, right? We're projected to lose the whole way through, and then in that final quarter, it just starts going crazy. This was the record set in the NFL for most points in a quarter, and it was just insane.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do something like that. And if you think of the cast of characters here, because Joey mentioned some of the crazy what's his name, Santana Moss and guys like that, Deshaun Jackson, some of these crazy ending in the ball game, Cowboys, Redskins, or Commanders, and you get this one with the cast of characters involved. It's just especially with the revenge game with Dan Quinn. This one was a wild affair, I'm sorry, an incestuous affair of people who kind of they know each other. You got Dan Quinn, you got all the revenge guys coming in.
See Dorrance Armstrong talking all that mess out there.
Oh man,
I'm glad. That's why. I will say, conventional wisdom says it behooves the Cowboys to lose out, but beating this Dan Quinn Quinn Manders and former players talking shit all week, I'd be fine with winning just the rest of the division games and then seeing where we are.
Let's win these division games, man. And you're talking about those ups and downs. Just real quick, I mean, this is just a look at how it was on the field. McLaurin
right
here.
2 seconds later.
Missed that extra point.
Oh,
6 seconds later. 6 seconds later. 6 seconds later. 6 seconds.
Wanye coming right at you.
Goodness, that's tough to see. Oh, there's the bird getting flicked up there too. I love that.
Just so much going on. I mean, there's just so many highlights. I mean, look, for a moment we're in disbelief that we even have the lead, and then you have McLaurin just get that huge touchdown.
Now they can just unleash the
it was just super crazy to have this guy come out and just get this out of nowhere, break through the defense, and this guy's got the jet. It doesn't matter how old he is. He's still one of the fastest receivers in the league. Does that, everyone's hype, and then for them to miss that extra point, and then we get those points.
It was a really good play design there to get McLaurin that open, and the coverage is going to be on the sideline, so he kind of got that seam play, but it was with an option to probably go to the post, and he just had probably both of them wide open, and ended up just sprinting up the seam for the touchdown.
Let me give that one more angle on the Wanye here.
To the left, goes straight ahead this time, and it's picked up, and that'll put the nail in the coffin. End-to-end Wanye Thomas.
Ooh.
Wow. And what's funny, it didn't put the nail in the coffin, actually put the game back in jeopardy, in essence. But that's probably not it's hard to control some of those guys on special teams. Maybe you would have given Bones more credit if Wanye did just go down and end the game. But to see a guy take the ball into the end zone is never a bad thing, and good for him. He's been trying to get snaps, and it's been tough for him. It's been tough for that whole safety group to have to end a game saying the safeties played really well. So to come out with a big special teams touchdown, it's got to feel good.
Yeah, and I got a question because I've mentioned this on the last show and others about the tight end spot. Cowboys have been good at replacing the tight end. I mean, is this showing from Schoonmaker make you think that, hey, maybe he's the tight end of the future? Maybe we don't re-sign to Jake Ferguson.
3rd and 5. Rush over the top. Touchdown. Dropped it into Schoonmaker. 22-yard strike.
It's called answering the bell, right?
True. That's 2 weeks in a row from him. The last week he had 10 targets.
Yep.
There you go. I want to hear what Joe had to say about those tight ends because
I was going to say we saw Span Ford out there too, making some plays. But Ferguson's a number one for a reason. I think he's just a little faster, a little quicker, a little better hands. But mean, Luke Schoonmaker, he just showed up. He was wide open. That was busted coverage. But I think to Dave, to some of your point, like Mike McCarthy having gone up against Dan Quinn for multiple years in practice, he kind of knew how to attack his defense. Let's talk a little bit about how we saw that play out.
Yeah, I mean,
and real quick, for what it's worth, Ferguson's last year of his contract is next season. Last year, that rookie deal, only getting $1 million next year.
I mean,
crazy.
You would expected Schoonmaker to have come on a little sooner, and I think it kind of shows to their discrepancies. These are three very different tight ends that they have employed, and I honestly think Hendershot could have still been a part of this tight end room, but I think the Colts or whoever it was paid up for him a little bit. But when you look at what they're all three good at, Schoonmaker was supposed to be the marquee blocker of the group. He came in, and which is not a great use of your second pick or second round pick, but the guy is like us answering the bell. Like he's had some. I think it's getting in a rhythm. Getting a rhythm is so difficult in this league. If you have 5 snaps, it's very hard to go out there and get in a rhythm, and then maybe the one time you get passed to, show up and answer that bell. But he got put a lot more responsibility put on him the past 2 weeks. I think he's been recognizing that, and he's probably heard some of the kerfuffle about him and his deficiency on the field. And he got down to no snaps a couple games in a row. So kudos to him. Spanford is my pet cat. But when you see Schoonmaker have a game like that, you can't drag him through the mud at all. He had a great game.
I like it, man. Yeah, I think Cowboys just good at getting these tight ends. So keep it rolling. And look, with this game, there's, like Joe said, there's just so many good moments. I'm not even ready to move on to the next opponent yet.
Let's look at some stats, man.
Joe or Dave brought it to my attention about some extracurriculars that CeeDee Lamb was actually doing. We can talk about the snaps, but let's get these.
Let's see this. I don't even know about this.
Yeah, so huge first down from CeeDee Lamb. Check this out.
This was big time. Field. This was huge because I saw it in real time. I was like, he just he pivoted about 40 degrees, the other way on 2 last steps of that route to cut in front of the defender, because it was maybe it shouldn't even been thrown because of how many defenders were out there. But when you got a guy like CeeDee Lamb, you give him 12 targets, you feed him the ball, and Rush just felt confident the guy can make a play. And hey, he's basically an all-pro out there right now. Yeah,
shout out on Twitter, Brandon Laurie. We got this from this guy, and good call out.
That fumble. I heard when there was that fumble and the Commanders picked it up and were going the other way. Someone, the sideline yelled at CeeDee Lamb and the other, skill players to go after the ball. Literally CeeDee Lamb turned on a dime, ran and slammed that ball out of homeboy's hands. I can't remember.
Rush just has a clean edge on the pocket. Nice job by Jalen Brooks out there in space blocking. And
don't give up on the play.
They don't necessarily thrown down the field. Run after catch, yards after.
Heck yeah, man.
That's a leader play. That's a leader play by CeeDee Lamb. I think
absolutely.
He's had a little bit of that call into question this year. So to see him show up like that on a big effort play was on two effort plays there was what you want to see at a guy you just paid.
Yeah, it ended up not mattering because I think it was a legal contact or something, and we got the first down. But it was just cool to see, and then the fact that Lepke pulled it down out of the air like that was cool.
That was cool, man. It looked like a team that's all playing on the same page, and it kind of has to go to maybe what my overarching theme has been the past 2 weeks is that the coaching has finally started to figure out this talent deficient team and how to put out a contender, on a week-to-week basis. Now that things got out of hand last week, but I think we can all agree that they had pretty good game plans in that first half of last week, and it really carried over this week on the road, extremely hostile territory. These guys wanted to rub our noses in it yesterday, and I think the coaching came up on top, and Dan Quinn just pulled a late season Dan Quinn. It was not pretty for them.
Yeah. Like we mentioned, how much of that was just like being so familiar foe, right? That was the name of our last show for a reason.
Yeah.
we seem to know like exactly what he was trying to do offensively. We've seen his footprint on defense. I mean, offensively, fine. We know what that's going to look like for the running gun, the Texas Tech, right? But we knew exactly what they're going to do defensively, knew how to exploit it, and it seems like the Packers knew that as well last year. So,
yeah, it's good to be on this side of it, and then you had to give Zimmer some props too, because the defense came out with a plan to Jaden. He's hard to stop. He had a couple big runs, and a couple of obviously big completions, but they balled him up quite a few times, and I think he heard the footsteps. When you have Parsons and Overshown is almost as fast as Parsons, and that's a high compliment. These two guys are speed demons, and when you get in a situation where the game is close and you can't just, or maybe just because your coaching staff doesn't want to keep running the ball. I don't know why you don't always just run the ball against this Cowboys team. It's shown to be their weakness. But they stopped him there. They had Daniels hearing footsteps. He was throwing the ball way off. He was off on on like half a dozen passes were incompletable passes.
Yeah, he had 74 rushing yards, which I know is the most he's had in quite a few games. But
yeah, he had that long touchdown run.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the last 5 games, this was his season, or this was his high. 18 before this, 5, 35. We actually listed these all out last time, because this was my big worry about this game, was he was going to come in and run all over us. We're notoriously the worst run defense in the league. But
they cough up the ball too much. They just gave away the ball too many times. Jaden Daniels had a couple picks. There were some fumbles lost. Like, look at the quarterback ratings between the two quarterbacks, and that's the story of how these two offenses went. Cooper Rush 107. I mean,
117.
Cooper Rush.
It's a very clean game.
What?
Not just serviceable, but a really good performance at quarterback.
Coaching
he looked really comfortable out there. Third game of the season, like it kind of takes that long, right? And we've played some tough defenses the first 2 of his starts, but
I gotta give credit to
Redskins were. I mean, the Commanders were supposed to have a good defense, right?
Yeah, but you're right. It was deserving a shot of the week, man. Respect to him.
It was.
Yeah.
Let's
coming off that birthday high.
Good for him.
Yeah, let's get into some snaps here. While I'm pulling that up, I just want to see that CD for
Rush just has a clean edge on the pocket.
One more time as I pull these up.
Nice job by Jalen Brooks out there in space, blocking and generating these.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to look at that Turpin highlight one more time, too.
Catch, yards after.
So you can see we've got offense on the left, defense on the right, and we're looking at snap count. Because last week we were trying to figure out, like, who are we evaluating? Who we want to see more snaps from? Who do we want to see fewer snaps from? And we got. Well, what do you want to start with? Offense or defense, Dave?
Start with the offense. I think the offensive line. We knew we were gonna see some different guys when the game day roster came out with Zach Martin and Tyler Smith both down, and that was a prime opportunity to play Bass and Hoffman, and those are 2 of the guys I wanted to see. Awesome Richards. Some of the stats that you might want to take away, other than TJ Bass being out there every darn play of this game, was TJ Bass, Cooper Beebe, and Brock Hoffman all had 0 pressures given up last game, which is incredibly impressive. Now, I'd attack a guy like Steele as well. I'd attack like Guyton as well. So I'm not going to say, and Austin Richards, they all gave up pressures and a couple sacks. We're in there, but you have to look at the future of this offensive line and say, hey, man, if we can bring in a good offensive line coach and a good running game approach next year, we got some guys. We got some guys on the cheap, which not everyone can say. I mean, who else do you know out there that is starting all these backup offensive linemen and having one of their best days of the year? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really is, man. And it's just crazy to see. I think they're going to emphasize the line again in this next draft. And it's just, we're so spoiled, used to having that amazing offensive line over the years. So I have a feeling we're going to get back to that in the future. We're gonna rebuild this, like, the next legendary lineman, and I hope we can. Like you had mentioned last week when I was trying to write off Zach Martin, like hopefully these guys are learning from Martin, and hopefully he's pouring into these guys with some knowledge and some wisdom, man.
Yeah, look at those top 4. They're all linemen, and 3 out of 4 are not starters. Coming into this year, to see them out there all game, getting quality reps in a win where you actually produced with your offensive line is incredibly impressive. Tyler Guyton's still kind of learning on the job. Real young guy playing the toughest position on the team. Pretty much, you have to give him some time to come through. But flip that script and look at the bottom of this snap count list. You've got Mingo and Flournoy there in the bottom 6. Turpin, who might be the player of the game in the bottom 6. There's still some things to be figured out with those skill players.
Yeah, and I'll pull up just the raw stats because, Mingo, 2 targets, 1 catch. That's 1 more catch than last week, but it's actually 4 fewer targets than last week. And, minus 1 yard per catch. I don't know what that's about. So, I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Mingo. I've been the podcast Mingo hater. So I'm gonna stay on that train for now, man.
All right, I guess I'll call myself the Mingo.
But real quick, because I know we're talking about the bottom, but real quick, I do want to talk about the top. And CeeDee Lamb has recorded 4 receptions in the first quarter. And I guess this was real time they were doing this, but point was Lamb has recorded at least 4 receptions in 44 consecutive games, surpassing Michael Thomas, the slant gods. Longest streak in the NFL. So
that's pretty wild stat, man.
Lamb, very reliable, and there's a lot of teams where they struggle to do anything in the first quarter or first half of games. So it's like at least CeeDee Lamb is there and involved in the game to start every game.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? Because this is an interesting makeup of targets, but when you look at how efficient Cooper Rush was this the right approach here?
I think a lot of it does still come back to having a good game plan against Dan Quinn. We're not even counting the touches, the rushes that he had. So he had a few of those as well. I think only maybe 1 was successful. Like always, I feel like we don't call those at the right time. I feel like those kind of tosses to CeeDee Lamb, those end arounds, and those always get snuffed out, I feel like. But we get him the ball a lot. That's our best skill player on offense. There's really nothing else to say. Like, you're supposed to force feed the guy. We started doing that last year, and we had success doing so. So why not keep doing it with Cooper Rush?
No, you nailed it, Joe. We all remember that where it's like, why isn't CeeDee getting more involved? And they finally did, and then he just started dominating. Like, just giving them the ball. In a game-by-game basis, everything is very contextual, so we can't actually pull out everything out of it. But I do like at least that 1 big play from Brooks, 1 catch, 41 yards. As a young player, he's doing more than I'm seeing out of Mingo. I like to see that. And we definitely love the 2-game sample size from Schoonmaker here. Tolbert got the TD, but he's totally been kind of not doing much. Like, still,
he
only
totally dropped
yards.
That 1 pass at the beginning. The opening drive, right?
Yeah.
He dropped the pass, and then we get the field goal blocked. Like, we should have been at least 1st and goal right there. Ready to fumble it in probably the next play.
Yeah, we got a comment here. Bumble Fro, what's up? Appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in here.
What's
and
up,
anybody
Bo?
watching, go ahead and subscribe, like the show. Appreciate you guys helping us out. And he says, we don't bring CeeDee enough on sweeps without giving him the ball. Yeah. The defense knows he's getting it when we do send him in motion in the backfield. Yeah, you're right. Mix it up to where he's not getting it so that we can actually use it later, set these guys up.
You know what? I think that they did pretty well with motion this game, but it wasn't great going to the receivers in the backfield. I don't think that was big, but
I saw Schoonmaker in motion. Yeah.
They were able to pull a couple good tosses, and then the fake toss that ended up going to Brevin Spann-Ford up the seam. There was a few plays that came out of motion that looked good, but it wasn't the plays that just handed the receivers the ball. So they're still trying to figure that part out. I think, we've tried to do this forever. Like, we had what's his name?
We do with Turpin too.
before the kick return guy that we got from
Well.
he was at the Rams.
Austin.
Yeah, Tavon Austin. Like this offense.
Wow, that's a throwback. Yeah.
This offense has tried to put that look together, and then you go even farther back under Jason Garrett. You had I can't remember these crappy guys' names. The guy who went to the Giants. I can't remember.
All right.
They've been trying. They've been trying for a long time.
Yeah,
Jerry or Stephen McClay likes these gadget guys, and Turpin might be the best one you found.
Exactly, and hopefully I'm still sharing my screen because yes, 1 catch for 8 yards this game in the receiving wise. We know what he did, a big impact. But last week, a big impact.
Last week, yeah,
dude,
that crazy
catches,
long touchdown,
86 yards, and like 2 touchdowns in a row for Turpin. Last year, we were begging for Turpin to get more involved, and look. He's kind of barely getting more involved, but not really. Like this is huge compared to last year.
Can we please just find a way to get this man the ball? He's the fastest guy in the NFL.
Yeah, dude. This is pretty sick. I'm so excited for this episode, guys, because we still can't get on to the next matchup yet because there's still some other stuff I wanted to point out. Look, we had
real quick. Do you remember the CeeDee Lamb really long catch to convert that third down, and it was negated by I think a Guyton penalty, but that could have just been another stat. He would have been over 100, almost 100 yards. Cowboys probably would have scored a touchdown on that one, but
you're right.
Yeah,
and I heard. I
don't know if you remember that play.
And I also heard a stat. Well, I don't remember it exactly, no, but I heard a stat that Lamb hasn't been over 100 yards since week 8, and I just checked, and that's just not prototypical. Yeah, last week he got close, but come on, this is with these targets, double-digit targets every week, and he's not getting there. It's kind of crazy, man. I know it's Cooper Rush, but love it we're getting out of the squad, man. And we had another guy return that we were excited about, and DaRon Bland. Like DaRon Bland in the season debut after missing 14 weeks of practice in game time with a foot fracture, 6 tackles, 4 receptions allowed for 27 yards, locking them down. Man, glad this guy is back.
Man, we all thought he'd come back a little sooner than he did, but obviously we waited to the right amount of time because he came back in great form. His reputation precedes him. The defense is different than it was under Dan Quinn, and I wondered how that was going to play out. I don't think teams were interested in testing Bland today, or the Redskins or Commanders, I mean. So I don't think they were interested in testing him. But, I think he's capable of playing any scheme on the outside as a corner, and he's obviously an all-pro type guy. I can't wait to see him and Diggs together.
Oh man, 4 receptions allowed for 27 yards. Really, he just gave up 1 bad play. And if you're not Deion Sanders, that's fine to do. You know what I'm saying? And really, he did great. Like you thought that there's going to be some rust. Nah, like you said, he kind of did that Deion Sanders motion, and you didn't see much about him or hear much about him the whole game, right? But instead, we saw a whole the lion's share going to the other side, and when Butler, the leading tackler on the team, yesterday.
Yep, I have to talk about Butler because I poo-pooed him, said he sucked, and said I didn't want to see him again.
10 tackles, bro, and a sack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Butler's performance because this was good by him. Okay, I called him out for being crappy last week or not even knowing who he was. Let me tell you a little bit about Butler. Okay, so Butler went to college. When he left college, what did he do for 4 years? He was an actor in Hollywood. This guy was on All-American on the CW. I don't know if you guys watched that show.
No, I had no idea.
I had no idea either. This is from Nick Price. I got to give him credit.
We're reaching a different audience now. I like it.
So he was on All-American, and he was arguably probably their best football player because after doing so, he went to go play for the USFL, made the Michigan Panthers, did okay, showed out, came on the practice squad last year, played the entire year in the practice squad, never got called up. No flowers for him last year. Made the practice squad again this year, and guess what? We've been losing corners left and right. We lose players left and right. So Butler gets a call up a few weeks ago, and he's been in the mix, and he actually got thrown to quite a bit. He gave up maybe 8 catches for almost 90 yards. Not great, But then he made up for it with the feistiness of having those. What did he have? 10 tackles? What was it again? Butler,
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
tackles.
Yeah.
So you have to give kudos for being a fighter, man. This is
Yeah,
the kind of-
really 10, really 11 if you're going to go 10 and 2 assists and a sack.
Zimmer
So,
coached
wow.
this guy up, and Al Harris. You know, those are the guys
man.
who were shaping this guy's development over the past few years. Not even out of a national football program, out of the USFL and acting, which is great. So, hey, kudos. I'm sorry, mea culpa. I think you had a great game. I'm looking forward to more, and but not too much more. Let's get Diggs back in there.
Hey, that makes sense why his celebration was the mime thing, because he was an actor, right? Yeah.
I didn't even
It's all
catch
coming
that.
together, Dave.
There
Connecting
you
dots.
go.
Thank you, dude.
Nicely done.
Sweet. Wait, real quick. Are you sure you didn't click the wrong Butler in your Google search?
No, I'm not. I that's all information I was told, so I hope that works out. Checks out.
Awesome. All right. So really great game. We crushed it. So snuffed out potential rookie of the year and that revenge game against our division rival. That's basically the trifecta of winning football. So
Yeah.
let's before I go into this next matchup, I already said I had to do it one more time. I gotta play one more Turpin highlight for the homies. All right.
Oh,
Deep. Line drive to Turpin, and it bounces through his legs. Here he comes. Cavante Turpin spinning free. Here he goes. Fastest man in the NFL. Cavante Turpin takes it all the way. Touchdown, Dallas. $95.
Let's go. All right.
Is that good?
That was cool.
Is that good?
We're going from one division rival to the next. And this is a
That's right.
Thanksgiving game, another special game. So, guys, we're busy this week. We just did a show on Friday. We're doing a Monday show. Now we got a Thursday game. So we'll be back with y'all real quick. But we're not done today either. All right. So this is really what we came here for, because they've got another top rookie in the draft in Malik Neighbors, but they've got a much bigger quarterback problem, and they just released Daniel Jones this past week, and we got a chance to see another round of Tommy DeVito, who started for them last year in some games. Malik Neighbors looks great. You know, he's getting a ton of targets, but ultimately, guys, if you don't have a quarterback, it's going to be rough. Now, it's two teams of backup quarterbacks, right? So, you know, we're kind of on even playing field, except we all know Rush is just on a different level. I would say if you rank the backup quarterbacks, Rush is number one, maybe. I don't know.
Numero uno. Yeah.
Right? So I'm feeling good about our chances in this matchup, but how are you guys feeling about this one?
Actually, maybe go Joe Flacco, but I digress.
Well, he already got benched again.
Yeah, man.
So for my other stuff, I watched every game, and yeah, I'm taking Rush now. I know he got to come back later in the year, but right now Flacco's looking. It's over.
Tommy Cutlass ain't good either, man. This is going to be an interesting
30 to
game.
7. 30 to 7, and the Bucks, like, they started off hot, but they're technically a losing team. They're 5-6. Giants now 2-9. Lost 30 to 7, and what was just a lopsided game from the beginning. Tommy DeVito 189 yards. I mean, they were just keying in on the run too. So say what you will about Daniel Jones, but at least Tracy was getting his. He only had 42 yards last game. Neighbors was doing better under Jones as well. Only 64 yards, 6 receptions. So a little bit different of a Giants team. And we kind of did cover this last week for like breaking news a couple hours after it happened. And talked about what this division looks like now. It's so different. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is be careful for the luck to run out. You know, it's a division game. The Cowboys are not notorious for dominating on Thanksgiving. I guess they have been in the past, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to recreate that magic, because look at the turnovers and almost turnovers from last game. You have the Cooper Rush, BB bad snap. That seems like it could definitely happen again. And
Yeah.
will Zeke Elliott be there to dive under a 300-pound lineman and get that ball off the turf? Maybe not this time. I don't know if Daddle's capable of that. I know Deuce Vaughn's not.
Or Daddle's capable of fumbling too.
Yeah, so there, and then you look at the Chauncey Golston little breadbasket somehow interception.
That was awesome, by the way. Big man pick.
That's luck on our
Yeah.
side.
That we
there.
did absolutely zero with, by the way. We just continue to go 3 and out. Fine.
Look at that
Anyway,
play where he muffs the ball and turns around and picks it up like Spider-Man and does it. Is that going to happen this week? So this team got a lot of juju out of that monkey's claw this past week.
Are we going to get missed extra points, man?
Oh man,
Yeah. This game was crazy.
The bad kicking game. So you know there's no shortage of clutching your pearls and holding your breath on Thursday after you've been eating turkey and hopefully having a good drink with your fam and putting up your Christmas lights, whatever you do on Thanksgiving.
I'm having a giant feast. I am having a giant feast
for sure. But be careful because sometimes there's those tryptophan little goblins will get you and put you down for a few hours, and it could very well happen in this game. So anything that happens is a short week, but it's also a short week for the Giants. That's my first look on it. Is your luck might have run out last week?
I think
I
think you're fine coming into the Giants. You're kind of stumbling into this one. I think as the score predictions might read out as well, we're looking at a little winning streak here of 2 games. No spoilers, but just saying like the Cowboys are a better football team than the Giants, which is weird to say because
why
the Cowboys have not been good. But luckily, there's one team worse in the NFC East than the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're right. One team's getting guys back, one team's losing guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like
And-
when is
and
Demarcus
cutting
Lawrence
guys.
coming back? Have anyone heard when he lost coming back? This season?
I heard you might have got downgraded to not coming back this year.
Okay, well,
But I haven't heard this past week, so I don't know.
so the Giants have the youngest team in the NFL, so that's part of their situation. And you can see, look at the running backs here, 100% percentage, and I think with how fast Michael Parsons is going to be coming at them, we're going to see the running backs getting the ball dumped off to them a lot. They're going to go to neighbors a lot. Wan'Dale Robinson, that's their middle of the field, slot receiver that they're going to go to. So we know their game plan, and they've been, this is a rookie tight end, rookie running back, or rookie wide receiver 1. The number ones at every position are all rookies. So there's going to be mistakes. So I think if we just play sound defense, we'll be fine. None of us are picking the Giants to win this game. I'll say it, spoiler alert. But but Darius Slayton guys had been injured the past game before this, and I think he actually may, he's their deep threat. We know Slayton; he's been there for years at this point, so he may make some more noise. This is probably one of his rare 0-catch games, so that's the only other guy that is in the mix that we gotta kind of worry about.
Definitely Tracy. Probably on some, just dump out passes. We'll probably get a few of those targets. Just, DeVito, he's a little bit of a gunslinger. He's going to take some deep passes, but I think for the most part, it's going to be a little dink and dunk, hand the ball off to Tracy, and then tight end. Receptions are always big when you're dealing with a backup. So and we'll see. He'll probably be a little better than he was last week against the Bucks, just because, just like Cooper Rush,
exactly,
it takes a couple of games to get used to NFL speed. Man, the NFL's a tough league to play in. But he's a talented arm at least, and we'll see what happens.
He's a confident guy too, right? So, does he instill confidence in his in his other guys, right? Because this is when you look at what the Cowboys have as their second and third team guys, you'll take what they got over what the Giants have right now. So, even as unconfident as you might be in guys like Tolbert, who's had his progress stopped this year, kind of hit a wall. As you have Schoonmaker and Spanford, and then, I don't even know, Ezekiel Elliott, if you're going to count him in here. I think it's a better set of guys than what the Giants have. And you look at Cooper Rush, he like you said, Joe, he's already gone through his bad stretch, kind of getting acclimated, and then he had such a crazy good, efficient game, albeit with a bad fumble snap, but it got recovered by us this time instead of the other team like last game. So if Cooper Rush plays efficient ball like that, no turnovers, I don't know if the Giants have anything to overcome that, because you know our special teams is going to play up, and it's a home game, so defense should be playing well. I don't know what. Maybe they all have shades on. We'll be in good shape.
Carson's gonna feast.
Just think about if you're John Mara or like Joe Schoen, like the GM for the Giants. You let Saquon Barkley go to a division rival, and now this QB who you kind of like, put a lot of stock into, you just parted ways with last week, and you're going to be sitting on $70 million of dead money over the last couple 3 years or whatever it's going to be. That's gotta sting, and that's gonna actually affect this roster down the road too. So I don't see this Giants team, doing a 180 anytime soon. Cowboys should feel pretty comfortable about at least being never the last team for at least a few years to come.
Yeah. Gosh.
Man, think about how the Commanders were able to kind of walk the line and tightrope on paying quarterbacks, and they ended up doing a bunch of one-year deals, and now they're able to kind of reset, have a great pick hit at quarterback, and then now they can go into trying to rebuild around him, where the Giants stubbornly took dumb idiot Dimes at the at the top 10 picks, and then paid him for one playoff win, which was a wild game against the Vikings. He played his balls off, but he's done nothing to show for it the entire rest of the time. Whereas you look at the Cowboys quarterbacks, they light up the regular season. Like Romo and Dak, like they earned some paychecks by doing that, where Danny Dimes had one good playoff game and he gets paid for it. It's very disproportionate. And now they're under that, they have an albatross around their neck of this huge contract for a guy that they just cut in the middle of the season, which is
Dave. I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here and say, well, what the hell did you pay Dak for? He's only won one or two play. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
It's not
so
like Dak shows a lot of
true,
playoff success either.
He won
paid him the most money ever for a quarterback right now. So just throwing that out there.
That's fair, and regular season wins don't mean as much as playoff wins, but they're two things that can be evaluated on their own. And if you want to make it to the playoffs and roll the dice, you have to win regular season games. I don't know what the Giants' plan was to win regular season games. They did not have the formula and they let their best guy go. And now it's just a bad situation. It's unfortunate. Obviously, we don't care. We drink the Giants' tears and we put them on our turkey on Thursday to add a little extra spice to the mix. But they're in a bad spot.
Thank goodness. It's just kind of like a senior day deal where you schedule the worst team for the biggest national audience or the biggest crowd that you're going to get, So hopefully we get a little bit of that. Yeah. Yeah. Homecoming. Exactly. Senior day, homecoming. Yep.
Yeah. I heard a pretty funny joke that the odds are higher that the Cowboys make the playoffs than the Cowboys actually making some free agent acquisitions in the offseason. But look, man, Dave, you're talking about what the Commanders did well. The Commanders also sold off a bunch of defensive players.
They did. Yeah, they did.
They sent
all their
some
pass
to the
rushers.
Bears. They sent, exactly. Sweat and the other
Chase Young.
big name, Chase Young. Yeah, they sent those guys off, and they made sure they were getting that early pick. So it wasn't that they just, didn't, avoided paying a random quarterback that they didn't need to pay. They also made a move in the year that they kind of got an idea that, hey, this is going to be a good class. They just went for it, started trading off guys at the end, made sure they got that early pick. So that was what I was saying in some of the other episodes where it's like, hey, if we're not going for it, we don't want to be in another situation like Tyron Smith where we don't get anything for him and we kind of part ways. Like I get we want guys to retire as Cowboys, but that's not what happened in that scenario. And we should have gotten off of him a year early before the injuries and tried to get something for him. So it's an interesting spot we're in. In the description, I was saying, hey, are we going to – we're going to talk about should we be going for it or should we be just trying to tank here. Like we're not saying we're tank. Like you have the team that you have, right? The record's gonna play out how it's gonna play out against the Giants. We're gonna win. That's just what's gonna happen. So enjoy this Thanksgiving win. I think it's gonna play out how it should. And if you really want to make a move, you can go trade up. I think that's where the Giants made the mistake. That Joe Schoen, a GM or whatever, he should have instead of going neighbors. Let me trade that whatever 5th, 6th overall pick, whatever it was. Go move up into the top of the draft and get a guy. But honestly, he didn't have to do that because so far every rookie quarterback right now looks good. We know that in a year someone's going to bust out. It happens, but this is a crazy year. They could have had Bo Nix. He was there. He went like 6 picks later or whatever. You could have traded up maybe into the 4 or you could have stayed there and got one of these other guys that have already started producing. So, there's really no excuse for those guys. So it's kind of all on their own fault. Cowboys are not in that spot. They just need to keep building talent. So I think
they should just re-sign Barkley and like figure it out from there.
You're right. They should have paid him because he wasn't getting paid much at all. Even now, he's not getting paid much at all. Same with Derrick Henry and all these other running backs. But forget that because we're not completely out of draft range for some guys. Maybe the Travis Hunter range.
Maybe the Travis Hunters of the world. I mean, let's either lose out or win out at this point. Like, let's do something crazy and get a wild card, or let's just fall back and play some spoilers and then get like a top 10 pick.
We'll get some.
I like beating the division teams, like you said earlier.
Yeah, we'll get some
division teams only.
We'll figure it out as it gets to us because I think we should make sure we understand that the top 15 or 20, there's normally 15 to 20 first round graded guys in the draft, and getting one of them, we could draft any one of them. Like the team needs guys everywhere. We're going to lose a bunch of guys. I don't think we should lock in on Genty or Travis Hunter there's a couple guys out of Michigan that look really good. There's a couple receivers that look good. I think there's a Missouri guy. There's some other guys out there.
Burden.
We're not even there yet. We're not there yet. Like McMillan out there, his receiver looks pretty good. Like there's a lot of opportunity, and I think that the finer parts of that are to be determined. It's going to be okay. Let's have some fun this season. I would like to have a higher pick, but we're not going to get a top 3 pick in my opinion. I think that's already gone, so I'm not really as worried about it. I thought we had a chance for a top 3 or 4 pick. I guess going into the last game, but winning this game kind of takes that off the table. I think we're going to be firmly stuck between 8 and 12, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
depending on how we went out. So, but there's good guys there. There's actually really
good guys. There's great guys there. There's a pretty deep draft coming up. We're going to do so much draft breakdown that's going to be nauseous.
I think Dave actually nailed it. Because at this point, there's just so many either receivers that we can take to be behind CeeDee Lamb that would crush. There's still some linemen, and the reason I wanted the earlier pick was just so that we could trade back and get a draft haul. That's what I wanted out of it.
Yeah, top 3 pick might have done that. I agree. The trade market's kind of been changing lately. We haven't seen as many of those. I don't want to sound stupid. I maybe have to go back and look, but it felt like that was more of a 3 or 4 year ago thing. It doesn't feel like it's happened a lot recently, and the quarterback crop here is not.
Yeah, not this year.
It's not stacked.
We're not doing a mock draft or anything, but I was just trying to figure out where is the draft positioning, and you had mentioned potential top 12. PFF has us at 11 right now, so that's. Not in.
That's probably projecting to beat the Giants, though, and maybe one more game down the road. I think we might win 2 more games.
Yeah. So, it's pretty good spot to be in. To be honest, there's still draft trades to be made, stuff like that. I'm just looking at some of the guys. Okay, this doesn't even make sense, so I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, you had mentioned McMillan. There's at least 1, 2. 3 receivers I like here. There's actually more than that in receivers I like. So there's plenty of talent. This doesn't look accurate at all, guys.
We're early. We're so early. And I have a lot to learn. I can't even remember guys' names. I just remember that there's also a couple of safeties that look really good that could be right there for us. I'm excited because when you're at the very top, there's a lot of pressure. And like I feel like they might pressure themselves into getting like a left tackle or something. Something very safe and cornerstone that you want a 5-year contract on. But man, if you're in that 8 to 12 range, you're looking at guys that are like, that's
Think
kind of
about the last
like
time.
the more
Think about the last
juicy-
time. We got Micah
See,
last time.
That's where the juicy prospects are that are like at the very top of the prospect board, but maybe not like the best premium position, or maybe it's projected slightly differently. But just like you said, the guys that go 11 are the maybe guys like Micah Parsons. He's maybe the best player in the draft, but there's a few guys that have played their position more.
Needed that character concern.
I can't.
It was the
wait.
COVID year, and he sat out, so that was kind of
Yeah.
like one of those weird things that no GM or owner has had to deal with in the past because guys just sitting out because of COVID. So obviously the Cowboys took advantage of that.
Yeah,
and the Eagles screw ups, and then we went did the damn thing, you know.
we're so ready for draft talk, Alex.
Yeah,
Let's buckle back in. Let's buckle back
All
in.
right, no. All right, let's get to some
So
predictions. And hot takes.
last week, no one's close because we all picked the wrong
No
team.
one was
So
close.
We'll move on. It doesn't matter, and we're happy about being wrong there. But this week, I got the Cowboys winning 27-7. I haven't seen the Giants score more than 7 in a while, so that's why I got the score. And I took away one of the kick return touchdowns we got, even though we had 2. Maybe I should take it off 2 of those, but I think we can get a DeVito fumble 6 or pick 6.
Hey, save it for the hot takes.
Well, the thing is, we got a game starting
Don't take
here
my
in just
hot
a little bit, guys. But go. How you feeling about your 30-13, Joe?
Well, one of those include a defensive score, whether it's be a pick 6 or a fumble 6. But we're definitely going to score on defense. That's my early hot take. And the Cowboys are going to win 30-13.
Yeah, I'm going with the Giants actually getting lucky against us. They're going to be out there trying to fight for their lives, and I think they're going to end up picking up a Cooper Rush fumble snap or a. How many tips at the line of scrimmage did Cooper Rush have? Like these tips at the line of scrimmage, the ball goes
sidearm shit too.
Dude, Quinn actually had a good. It looked like he told everybody, "Listen, rush four beats and then jump." And it ended up they had like 3 or 4 pretty big blocks at the line of scrimmage. I think a combination of one of those or a ball on the ground from a bad snap is going to lead to an easy score for the Giants. And then again, I think the Cowboys are just prone to giving up 1 or 2 big scores to their opponents. So, yeah, I think they're going to score 20 points. I think it's going to be closer than maybe y'all think it's going to be, but they're going to pull out this dub. I feel pretty confident.
Based on what stats? Based on what stats? They scored 7 against the Bucks last week, bro.
Yeah,
the Bucks are a better football team.
Did you not see how lucky the Cowboys got with a lot of those plays?
Yeah, but
come on,
man. That's how the Cowboys won their other.
The Cowboys,
the Steelers
did they not just
win was
lose
so
5 in a
lucky,
row?
too.
Did we not just lose 5 in a row?
Yeah,
The Cowboys are not a Super Bowl winning
row.
team. We've all agreed on that. Okay.
All right,
Dak
I'm just saying.
Prescott's
I've
not
seen
walking
them
through
play
that door
pretty
anytime
bad.
soon.
I've seen them play pretty bad. I've seen them get blown out.
David
Right.
Smith,
I
don't worry,
wouldn't-
man. Like after this week, we can still
I didn't
lose
say I was
games.
worried.
It's okay.
I
After
think
this
they're gonna
week,
win.
we'll start losing games again. All right.
I did like what Joe said about one more week for DeVito. Maybe he's a little bit better, but it is a short week, so he's not going to get that many more practice reps. So hopefully he gets some for them. He gets some, take something away from that game experience. But I'm still, maybe they get to 14, maybe, but I'm not too.
Divisional game. It's a divisional game,
Yeah,
guys.
any given Sunday, and
We
we'll
saw that last
dovetail
week.
right into the hot takes or bold prediction. We're only going to do one, so I'm saying Deron Bland gets a pick 6, gets back into the interception GOAT conversation. He's already there, obviously. So Deron Bland, pick 6 on, I want to say Danny DeVito because the other guy's Danny John.
Yeah, I know. Just,
Tommy DeVito. What you got?
the pass will be short or something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Alex, you're kind of stole mine there, but I'm gonna co-sign that one with you, and then I'm gonna go Micah Parsons fumble recovery and maybe even a touchdown. But Micah Parsons is gonna let DeVito know that you don't belong in this league, and that's the starting quarterback.
And
then he'll probably do the celebration too,
Hey, steal DeVito's celebration. So, Dave, we'll do a little different this episode. We're going to close it out. As soon as you finish your hot take, you're done. The show's over. We don't want any explanation on your hot take. We just need the hottest take from you. But first, I got to say, appreciate you guys watching the show. Like, subscribe, enjoy the game. Baltimore Ravens versus the Chargers tonight. And again, like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back here. Enjoy the Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So, Dave, give us your
All
hot take. No
Mingo
contact.
touchdown. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's go.
Write it, Joel. Write it.